Elon Musk pressed a button, not a launch button, not an algorithm tweak, not even a tweet storm. He cancelled his Netflix subscription, and then he told 226 million people to do the same. At first, it sounds trivial. Another hot take from the world's richest shitposter. Another episode in the endless culture war nobody asked for. But this one landed differently, because Musk didn't just unsubscribe, he weaponized it. He told parents Netflix was dangerous, that it was pushing harmful content onto children, that choosing to keep watching wasn't neutral. It was complicity, no debate, no evidence, no process. Just cancel it, now. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The guy who bought Twitter to defend free speech just used his platform to silence something he didn't like. Not through law, not through regulation, through influence. So what is this really about? Protecting kids from a cartoon? Defending traditional values in the algorithm wars? Or is it something we're not supposed to name out loud? That in the age of platform power, canceling isn't just personal anymore. It's political, structural, algorithmic. And the person with the loudest megaphone doesn't need to censor you. He just needs to point. Here's the official narrative. A Netflix show called Dead End, Paranormal Park, an animated series with LGBTQ+ characters, including a trans protagonist, became the center of controversy when its creator, Hamish Steele, was accused of celebrating the death of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. Steele denied it. The tweet wasn't about Kirk. The show had already been cancelled in January 2023. None of that mattered. Within hours, the controversy went from niche Twitter drama to Elon Musk publicly urging a mass exodus from Netflix. Not a call for dialogue, not a request for accountability, a demand for economic punishment. And then, almost as if on cue, Netflix stock dipped. Not because of earnings, not because of subscriber churn data, not because analysts revised their models, because one man decided a company had crossed a line. Now here's the part most coverage misses. This isn't about a show. It never was. Because Dead End didn't just get pulled into the culture war. It was already over. The show had been dead for 2 years. Nobody was watching it. Nobody was talking about it. Until someone wanted to make it mean something. And that's how narrative power works in 2025. You don't need fresh content to start a fire. You just need a match and a platform. For years, Elon Musk has positioned himself as the lone defender of free speech in a censorious world. He bought Twitter, now X, specifically to fight what he called the woke mind virus, to protect dissent, to let dangerous ideas breathe, to make the digital town square messy, chaotic, and free. Let people speak, he said. Even the uncomfortable stuff, even the offensive stuff. And in theory, that sounds noble. But here's the problem with being a free speech warrior when you also control the microphone. You start to confuse your freedom with everyone else's. Because when Musk removes content moderation, it's framed as liberation. When he calls for boycotts, it's framed as protection. When he amplifies certain voices and buries others, it's called restoring balance. But it's still control. Just a different kind. The kind that doesn't need legal authority or corporate hierarchy. The kind that works through influence, reach, and algorithmic weight. And that's the contradiction we keep pretending doesn't exist. Musk isn't fighting for free speech. He's fighting for his speech to matter more than yours. Not through censorship. That's too obvious. Through curation, through signal, through making certain voices so loud they drown out everything else. And when you have 226 million followers, a global media empire, and the ability to move markets with a single post, you don't need to silence anyone. You just need to decide who gets heard. Netflix says it stands for representation. Its catalog includes stories from every corner of the spectrum: race, gender, sexuality, politics, identity. It positions itself as a champion of marginalized voices. And to a point, that's true. But let's be honest, Netflix is not a non-profit. It's not a cultural movement. It's a $200 billion tech company with shareholders to please and engagement metrics to hit. So when Elon Musk attacks one of its shows, it's not just a free speech moment. It becomes a branding crisis. Because in the world of streaming, perception is currency. And controversy? It's both a threat and a marketing tool. Netflix now finds itself in the same position every platform eventually does, caught between values and viewership, between creative freedom and corporate strategy. Because let's face it, the algorithm doesn't care about morals. It cares about clicks. And if controversy drives engagement, even outrage becomes part of the business model. So, in a way, Musk isn't fighting Netflix. He's becoming part of its machine. And the audience? We're not just watching the show. We're part of the content now. At first glance, it looks simple. A man with opinions, a company with content, and a public reaction playing out in real time. But look closer, and you'll see the real stakes. This is not just a celebrity boycott. It's a clash of platforms. A battle over who gets to shape culture, not through laws or elections, but through recommendation algorithms and social influence. Because in 2024, culture isn't shaped by politicians. It's shaped by timelines. And that's where Elon Musk is at his most powerful. Not as a CEO, but as a cultural node. A single post from him can tank a stock, boost a meme coin, or push a social narrative into the mainstream. When he turns against Netflix, it's not just personal disapproval. It's a signal to his followers, his businesses, his allies, even his enemies. It's a reminder that attention is a weapon, and he knows how to use it better than anyone. And in this new landscape, free speech is often just a mask. What really matters is who gets heard and who gets silenced. We like to think platforms compete on features, better shows, faster apps, cooler tech. But that's a distraction. What they're really competing for is something far more valuable. Narrative authority. Who gets to frame the story? Who decides what counts as progressive, offensive, or neutral? Who controls the lens through which society sees itself? That's what Musk is challenging. He's not just criticizing a show. He's trying to rewrite the cultural script, where his worldview is no longer fringe, but dominant. And here's the catch. Platforms like Netflix can't fight that head-on, because they don't just produce content, they respond to it. They follow trends. They measure engagement. They adjust based on outrage. So when Elon Musk starts a fire, they don't put it out. They study it. Because in the algorithmic age, attention isn't just the goal, it's the product. And as long as outrage generates views, the real battle isn't over who's right. It's over who can set the terms of the conversation. Musk knows this, Netflix knows this, and deep down, so do we. Elon Musk wants to expose what he sees as ideological bias. Netflix wants to defend its image of inclusivity. Both claim to stand for freedom, of speech, of identity, of thought. But here's the twist. Neither side is asking what you actually want. They're too busy curating your choices for you. Because in the streaming wars, you're not the customer. You're the data point. Your pause time, your rewatch rate, your outrage clicks. They're all being logged, measured, fed back into the machine. And when Musk criticizes a show, the algorithm watches your reaction. When Netflix drops a diverse series, it studies your retention. Every conflict, every scandal, every tweet isn't just noise. It's training material. So while we think we're choosing sides, what's really happening is something far more subtle. We're being taught what's normal, what's controversial, what's acceptable to say, and what's safer to leave unspoken. And that might be the most dangerous part of all. Because when the culture war is this entertaining, no one notices they've stopped asking real questions. This isn't politics. It's something more efficient, more scalable. When billionaires own platforms, they don't need to lobby governments. They can influence culture in real time. They don't write laws. They write algorithms. Musk has X. Netflix has your evening routine. Apple has your phone. Google has your questions. Meta has your family photos. These companies don't just reflect culture. They manufacture it. And the battle we're seeing now, it's not about censorship or wokeness or free speech. Those are just the costumes. What's really at stake is narrative real estate. Who gets to define what reality looks like for billions of people? Because in this new world, it's not about controlling information. It's about shaping the frame through which all information is seen. And that's why this Musk versus Netflix clash feels like more than a celebrity tantrum. It's not a story. It's a template. A signal to other moguls. You don't have to own the truth. You just have to own the feed. It's tempting to dismiss it all. A tech mogul rants online. A streaming giant releases a controversial show. Another culture war story. Here today, gone tomorrow. But maybe there's something deeper happening. Not just a feud over content, but a quiet competition for influence, where narratives are shaped, values are tested, and public opinion is engineered, not earned. Because when Elon Musk attacks Netflix, he's not really talking about one show. He's asserting power over the conversation, claiming space in a world where attention is the ultimate currency. And Netflix, it's not just defending its brand, it's defending a version of the future it wants us to accept. One where progress means trust in the system, and controversy is just part of the marketing cycle. In the end, this isn't about who's right. It's about who controls the frame. Not what you watch, but how you see it. Because if every story is filtered, every feed is tailored, how much of your perspective is really yours? That's the part we rarely question. And maybe that's by design. This was never just about Elon Musk calling out a show or Netflix defending its brand. It was never just about one storyline, one platform, or even one moment of controversy. It's about how narratives are shaped in silence, not with force, but with repetition, with habit, with design. Because over time, we stop noticing how much we've adapted, not just to what we watch, but to how we interpret it. We start mistaking exposure for understanding and outrage for awareness. And while we think we're making choices, we're mostly responding to algorithms, to headlines, to voices louder than our own. That doesn't mean we're helpless, but it does mean we're being guided, not always by truth, but by what keeps us engaged, what holds our attention just long enough to keep us scrolling. And maybe that's the real battleground, not the content itself, but the quiet systems that decide what content even matters. So before we argue over who's winning, maybe it's worth asking, are we even playing the game we think we are?